Taking a long ass time. There we go. My Wi-Fi sucks. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second part, Ian cut out. Second part of the intertribal chat. And I'm not gonna say this is the final one because we have season 2 of Res Dogs coming out. So this is gonna be just what we loved or maybe hated or what could have been done better or just a fun chat about reservation dogs because it's fresh, it's new, it's something that hasn't happened, I don't think, ever like this, or it's just all indigenous cast. But I mean, we got myself, Russell Sunigo from Okie Podcasts. We have Steven and James from The Right Potatoes. We have Tyler Randall from Skoden Cinema, Kevin Nez from the Magnez Podcast, and Ian Allison from Native Film Talk. So what's up, everybody?
Yo,
it's Jay.
Yeah.
We really out here. So what do you guys think of the season?
overall, I liked it. There were some parts like I would have liked to seen more cheese, you know, like he was underused, and to me personally, I feel like his episode was the weakest, maybe because it didn't really like further the plot or anything. It was just something that he was doing during the day, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah, it was probably, I wouldn't say the weakest, but it was probably the one that I only watched once.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to it like all the other ones, but I liked what it did. It was good to. I was glad that they all had their own episodes, especially him. He had small little part, but that one was pretty much him. And I just assumed that was just for that he wanted to be, what did he say, a detective or
Yeah.
something in law enforcement. So I thought, all right, that's cool. It's good for a little young brother to look forward to do something in law enforcement. So I took it as that. But just the back and forth with him and god damn it, what's his name, Big. I thought that was all funny. I loved all that. And then when them singing what was the Sphinx name?
West Duty.
Yeah, what was his name?
Bucky.
The Sphinx.
Yeah, it was good to see him pop on there. I mean, it's always good to see him on there. So I thought that was really good. But yeah, that episode, I just watched once and I never really went back. I'll eventually get back to it again, but yeah, I would say that was one of the ones I didn't watch the most.
It's funny you say that because I mean, well, I love the season. I love the 4 episodes. They didn't really give him depth. It was just kind of like framing. I mean, they gave him depth like we've never seen before with native characters, but like each of the 4, they just gave you insight into why they're not going to go to California or why they are going to go to California. And like in that episode 5, which is my favorite. And it's so funny that you two are like, no, it wasn't for me, because I've never seen, I don't know, I guess like supernatural horror like told by actual native people. And so like Dear Lady, that was like, that's how you tell that story. And I've told so many people, you know, when I talk about that, I'm like, if it was like white people telling that story, it would have like been some like grand entry with like a grandma like telling a story, like staring off in the distance. Like, I remember when I was a little girl, I heard of Dear Lady. Like they would have really set it up. Whereas like with native people, like stuff like Dear Lady and the kind of the stories we were talking about before, like it's just all around us all the time. Like it's not like when the sun goes down, that's when it's like stuff comes out. It's like it's around us everywhere. And that makes me excited someday for like somebody to do another Chambers, do another native horror show. But yeah, love the show. Can't wait for season 2.
They're not done with the Dear Lady.
No.
She'll be back.
Well,
Who'd she
speaking
kill?
of her,
What did she kill?
Sorry,
I'm talking. No. Who did she kill? The first person, was it a Kyle Gordon? Was that who they got?
Yeah, it's Kyle Gordon.
I saw.
I saw. Yeah, it didn't actually show him get killed, but you definitely made the assumption.
Yeah.
With the Deer Woman, I know we kind of, I think we talked about it mainly through messaging. I've heard of something like that, but I never saw or heard of it, how they were telling it in the show. Is that something that you guys have grown up hearing about?
Because
I heard-
Navajos, we don't have Dear Lady, basically. Yeah.
We don't have that.
So me and Kevin were we had to learn from Russ and Tyler.
Well, that's like a different story of that. From what they told me growing up, was she would kill anybody or lead them off, and like there were stories of like in Oto country where she would like turn them into stone, like some people into stone and shit. If you got lost in the woods and you found her, or she would lead people off and just kill them. So kill people. So they would say, don't wander off. Don't look for her. Don't, and they say she would show up at different powwows and stuff and either watch or dance. And you could always just tell from the hooves that she was there. So I have never seen her, never encountered her. I've just heard stories. I don't know what Tyler's heard. If
Yeah, the stories I heard were just like I think we talked about it on the other podcast, sort of like a succubus.
yeah,
Like,
succubus. Yeah.
you're just sort of like drawn in by her beauty so much to the fact that you never look at her feet, that she'll take your soul, that she'll wreck your life, that you will become obsessed with her, and you'll forget about family, you forget about tradition, you forget about everything. It's just everything. Just takes everything from you and just leaves you a wreck. And so, but yeah, that's the stories I've always heard.
Mm. So if she's
Yeah.
out of your league, you better check the hooves.
Better check the feet.
Show me your
Better
feet.
check the feet. Be like, oh, show me
Yeah.
your feet.
Yeah.
Hey James, I guess
Yo.
it's a good thing you got that fit fetish, dude.
I'm always looking down.
You're never gonna be tricked, baby.
If they got sandals on, I do look down.
Yep.
Mm. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that whole part where she kills the bad people only, that was new to me. Yeah, it was just anybody and who fell for her, I guess. Fell for the trick. But I
Which
thought it was-
episode?
Oh.
Which episode made you guys cry the hardest?
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh,
the one when Laura Dannon found Daniel,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, 7
sure.
for sure.
there was another one. I can't.
It was
remember.
like back to
Oh,
back 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the one with
Yeah.
Willie
Willie and her
Jack.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of those did. Oh, that was rough. I mean, really, as a person that lives in California, I know from what I got from the show was their idea of California is the Los Angeles area of
Mhm.
the Hollywood life, the Dr. Dre and the Ice Cubes and all that, and the beaches and everything. I just assume that's just how they see California. I mean, because if some people guys that come to where I live at from the college, they go, yeah, they came from from another part of the states. And they're like, yeah, we're going to California. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to go play ball at this school. And then they come to Susanville and you're in the middle of nowhere.
True.
It's not the beach and all of that. Growing up in the city in Oakland, that's what I saw. I can go to the ocean, jumping on the bus or whatever and seeing all that. But wasn't really sure on what they wanted to do. And then I know they were trying to raise money throughout the whole, sorry about the crime baby in the background. But the money that they were raising, I was like, how much do you guys think you need to go to California? Because I've lived here my whole life and shit, the struggle was real or still is real. But I'm like, damn, I mean, you can't fill up a gas tank full of money and just come to California. I mean, I don't know what their plan is, but I liked their idea. They had an idea what they wanted to do. Well, California's the place to go. Let's go. And I was just thinking, like, why do you want to come here? I mean, I love my state. I mean, I'm Killer Cali to the end, but I was just like, all right, well, maybe it's just that's how I think because I'm from California, but I don't know. Hopefully they find what they're looking for. That's what I want.
I just think it shows the nativity of them all. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure. I think episode 7, hit hardest for me because I mean that's I lost a buddy 2 weeks ago to suicide, and he's 2 years older than me. And like 2 years prior, or the past 2 years before that, I've lost two buddies to suicide. So it's like it's real in my circle, my family, and seeing it, I think was I wasn't expecting to actually like see it, the feet dangling. I think that was
Yeah.
just like I just seeing her reaction, like that's what made me cry because initially I was just like, I thought she was just gonna run out the room, but she just almost had that like I almost thought of like Gladiator when he found his wife like hanging and he was like crying at her feet, like holding her feet like that, like hit me the same way when I saw that. So it was real, it was really emotional, really moving, but it also gave you a lot of like even though they're naive and like these kids have no idea what they're like in for in California, they don't know what they want in life. Like their conviction made sense. It's like, oh, they just want to get the fuck out. Like I get it. And it made sense why Laura was the only one that was like really hell bent on getting out. And everyone else was kind of half in, half out, or like, I don't know, I'm following along because it's my friend, but I don't want to go. So episode 7 was amazing.
The them wanting to leave their home. My son left the res where we live now. It's where my wife's from. And he as soon as he graduated from high school, he turned 18. He's like, I'm out of here. He could his talking to him, he was like, he goes, I love where I'm from. I love seeing my family and all his relations that are here on the res. He said, but I see a lot of these people that live here don't do anything. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, there's drugs and alcohol everywhere. He was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like my friends. I see the ones that are not going to leave here. And he has friends that have never left here. They only know Susanville. Like the biggest city they've gone to was Reno, which is like 90 miles away. That's the biggest little city in the world. But and he was like, I want to see what I want to see. He's gone to the Bay Area his whole life just because of I'm from there. And he's got plenty of family down there. So that's where he goes, that's where I'm going to start my life. So he packed all his stuff up. He found 2 jobs before he even left here. And he went down there, found a place to live, and he still lives there today. He was living in a nice little bougie area, but then all his roommates moved out and he couldn't afford it anymore. So now he lives in the hood, him and his girlfriend. But he likes it there. He goes, I love it here. Other than my brothers still live there. My oldest and my younger brother still live in Oakland. So he gets to see them a lot. And plus everyone I grew up with, not everybody, some of us have moved out of there. And yes, some of us have taken their own lives with suicide. And yeah, that episode really, really hit me. One of my buddies, just talking to him and trying to get him through his situation. And it was like what Daniel was going through. His mom and dad are just always fighting and everything. And he wanted to leave Oakland too. And then he succumbed to all the issues that he was dealing with. And he took his life just with pills. And that really kicked me in the ass in high school. So, I mean, just seeing movies like that in this, it was kind of rough. There's been people here that I've grew up with, or not grew up with, but people I've known since I lived here on this res that have taken their lives as well. I mean, a lady next door, she took her life, and some other people like down the road and on the other side of the res have also taken their lives. Don't really know why, but it's something that's real. I mean, and younger kids too. So when that was happening, I didn't find my buddy, but we came later, and I felt Laura Dannon's her love for her friend and just what she felt when she found him hanging there. I was like, oh, I knew it was coming when she was walking towards that little place they hung out. I didn't want to see his feet dangling there. I just maybe wanted to see maybe someone, they'll just show his feet and him laying on the ground. But then as soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh man, it just the tears were coming out of my eyes before she even walked into that place where he was hanging there. And then I was like, oh man, but it was rough. I mean, we laughed through the whole thing. And there was times where we got angry with episodes, and then we were sad. And that's what I loved about the show. It hit you everywhere. All the feelings that you can have, it hit you there. I mean, to go to whatever the episode with Pumpkin Lusty, the greasy fry bread guy.
Yeah, that was 4.
It was funny. I was like, wait, what is this? When the video started in the beginning, and I laughed. It was a catchy little tune. But when we find out that he's a dead, this is the deadbeat guy that Bear's mom was talking about, that hit me too, because I know plenty of deadbeat dads. My grandson's dad is it was just making me mad on how it, plus some of my personal friends have also been not there for their kids, and talking to them over and over, or talking to my grandson's dad, and he just didn't want to listen. And I'm like, why? So I mean, I enjoyed the episode. Yeah, it made me mad just because of how he was treating his son. Hearing my friends talk to their kids, oh man, I'll be there, and then not showing up at all. And that was pissing me off. So, but I don't know what happened afterwards with the guy in his real life, but it was just, oh man, I love that episode. I watched it plenty of times, and I did listen to that song, but that character just made me mad. I was like, because I knew plenty of guys like that. I mean, I've never done that. I was raised, my dad, he worked his ass off for us all the time. So that's where I learned my work ethic about getting up early and doing for your family. So I'm like, all right, cool. I like that. So, but yeah, when I see deadbeat dads, it kills me. My buddy today, man, I love him to death. I've known him since we were really little, and that fool he will not change. He's still the same, but he's my buddy. So I just gotta, I do yell at him though. What the fuck's the matter with you, man? Take care of your kids. But yeah, that episode, that one really bummed me out.
I think that's what's awesome about this show is there's so many. I mean, it elicits so many emotions. I mean, it's not a comedy. You want to call it a comedy, you want to call it a drama. It's like has so many different layers to it, and it's freaking awesome.
I was trying to think of another that bummed me out too. Like that was funny, like Pumpkin Lusty. But then like when you're older, it's like, God, what a piece of shit. Like, because like, yeah, like I know some people that live around where I'm from, like they're like that, like just a boy trying to getting women pregnant and not taking responsibility. You know, it's fucked up, and it's like, fuck. I was trying to think if there's any other parts that bum me out, like made me mad. You know, like I can't remember.
Oh, another one. When those guys disrespected Gary Farmer. What was his name in the show?
Uncle Brownie.
Uncle
Oh,
Brownie.
yeah.
When he rolled up on them, those two dudes with his big old jar of weed, and they're like, we only fuck with the good shit. I was like, you motherfuckers, respect the G. But I understand, man. Today's weed isn't like how it was back when we were out there getting down. But yeah, I wanted to know what that thing smelled like. He said it was buried underground for 15 years. You don't know what it could have grew other things on. I wouldn't have smoked it. I mean, I've smoked old dried out weed, and that's bad. I couldn't imagine something being 15 years old and lighting up. But that episode was hilarious. Seeing the guy, the bud tender or whatever they call those guys. What's that the comedian's name?
Oh,
Bobby
Bobby
Wilson.
Wilson.
Bobby Wilson.
Yeah, him.
was
It
a
was
great-
awesome to
Yeah.
see him. I mean, I loved him on Rutherford Falls. Him and Julia Jones. It was amazing what they did on that show. But when he popped in there on just that one episode was awesome. And I loved it. It was like new school meeting with old school with the weed. And when they said, "Hey man, why don't you give him a hit of the new stuff?" and pulled out that big bong, it's like, yeah, man, here, step into the time machine. That was hella funny. And I loved it once when he was hitting and the smoke was coming out. Bobby was like blessing himself. with
They all started blessing themselves. Yeah.
that was awesome. But I loved what Uncle Beanie was talking about when he was telling him, teaching him how to be a warrior. I mean, everything he said, a lot, because he did tell him, he was like, look, man, he goes, well, I'm not gonna show you anything. He goes, you gotta listen. And it was good that Bear did listen. All of them did throughout that whole little car ride and then them hanging out with him for the day. But I assume they're gonna talk about it in the second season. At the end of that episode, when Willie was sitting in the bar and she had that bag of hair. Well,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
gave it to the dude to see if he can get a curse done. They never. I just assume they're going to deal with that the next season. They never
Mhm.
did anything with it. So, because wasn't that the hair of
Jackie.
Jackie.
the little blonde one? I didn't
Mhm.
like that blonde hair.
And
I've seen pictures of her how she looks now, and I said, that blonde hair was not you. So I assume that's going to come into play next season because at the end of the season we do see Jackie taking off with Laura Dannon, and I want to know why they didn't pick up Bear, but I don't know. We'll see next season.
Did you guys get enough the William Knifeman in the very last episode? He comes back.
Oh, with Uncle Brownie
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
in the field. That's a brave man for being able to just bear it all in the
Right. It's
field.
like, damn, Derek Farmer just can't keep his clothes on.
He was naked in Power Highway.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
His callback.
I got too much shame. I couldn't do it.
I'll be naked
Yeah.
anywhere, man. Just let me be naked and I'll do it. I got you.
He got no trousers on right now.
Yeah, dude.
I was
That's
a little
what
nervous when he woke
times.
up and like in the field and it was like all hazy. I'm like, oh, they just didn't kill Brownie, right? Like they didn't just kill him. Like,
Nah.
but I thought, oh, he's in the
Was-
spirit world.
His whole little story in that episode is my favorite part because, like, not like cutting like the tornado ceremony. Like he's like, I need an axe to change direction of the tornado. And I was watching this episode with Steven and I was like, that's real. Like, Russ knows Warren Boynty, our friend, RIP, but he was telling me stories about his grandma and she knew songs and ceremonies to like change the direction of tornadoes or split them in half or stop them from coming to in your direction.
Hmm,
I just love that they incorporated that into the show.
that's awesome.
Yeah, the
Um,
stories I've always heard about changing directions of tornadoes was trying to capture some of it in like you're supposed to put out like a turtle shell, like outside your house. You're supposed to try to catch a part of the tornado, which causes it to change directions.
Yeah.
We
Well,
don't have
stuff
to-
they brought that in there.
We
Yeah.
don't have tornadoes over here.
Yeah, right.
Well, not yet. They're saying they're coming. I don't know. I've seen
Oh, God.
some twisters, but not like what you guys are dealing with.
Holy shit.
But really quick, the tall man, what did that represent? That was something that was new to me. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. If it was a-
Explain to us Navajos. What's
Yeah.
that called?
Is that an Oklahoma thing or what?
because
No,
none of us are tall over here.
Well, I just had the historical natives on, and we were talking about that. They were talking about, God dang it, it's like Tall Man Sam or something like that, and they explained it the exact same way they showed it on the show. So what it is, it's like a spirit
Mhm.
that comes around and it makes you like commit suicide. That's what it is for them up there, and it's tall as fuck
Wow.
with bright red eyes. Now, see, I don't know if like that's what they're aiming for because in the show they made it seem like it was maybe a spirit of Daniel. But then when they told me that, I was like, so was it just around him to where it made him like want to commit? Like it brought it on easier for him to do it, you know? So up there, like that's what the tall man is for them, is it brings you down lower and lower and lower and lower enough to where you just don't feel like, you know, you're not enough for anybody or you're not wanted around and you just commit suicide. It does its job. And so to this show, like I never heard of the tall man. I thought it was Bigfoot, but I'd never seen like red eyes or anything. So I think the show is just kind of pulling different stories from everywhere, maybe, and it's just kind of pulling everything together to make a giant reservation. Because it doesn't, and they use Creek words, but they don't say like they're Creek, you know, like
Right.
Yeah. 'Cause I was waiting for like I was thinking I watched like the last 4 episodes today, and I was wondering like they don't talk like they're from Oklahoma. Cause y'all a bunch of country bumpkins up there, and I never heard no y'alls or cockades or nothing like that. I was waiting for all that.
What was I think I asked Tyler this too. Another, I don't know if it's an Oklahoma thing or you know, like other native nations do this, but they had the houses over the grave or those little shelters. What was that all about?
Yeah, it's one of those things like it's just a thing that we've always done. I think it's like a Muskogee thing. It's supposed to be like you put the house over that the spirit has a place to go, like that's kind of familiar to home. So like the spirit doesn't actually leave for 4 days. And so you build a little house and then spirit can like go back at night or like when the family comes to visit. And then it has, like I said, it has a place to go. But like traditionally, you build them one time and then like it just rots. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like go back to the earth.
Hmm.
And but I guess in like today's they don't let them just rot. They fix them back up. But yeah, that's the thing that, like I said, I've never seen that anywhere else other than just around here. I know Will Sampson has one on his grave. I was down there at Grave Creek Cemetery where he's buried at, and there was one. They're still down there in that area, just like them old like, you know, creek cemeteries. But most people don't do that anymore. But yeah, I've seen them, and like when you ask me that, I'm like, you know, I don't know. Like I just know that's just the thing that we do. Like I never asked.
Hmm.
You know, like I just never thought like if that was something that you shouldn't ask about or, you know, but then when I ask and I got the story why we do that.
Nice.
So I thought that was kind of cool because I got to learn something too, you know. But yeah, I was like shocked that they sang a Creek hymn. That was like the very first Creek hymn I learned at the end of that episode. And so
Mhm.
that was cool, man. That one, that brought tears to my eyes too. You know, I think I even took a picture of myself. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I heard that song like on a network television show, you know, just sung by elders, and that's something else. You know, I mean, that's never in a million years I ever thought you'd ever hear something like that, you know, on a show like this. So that was awesome. It really was.
Yeah, because that was the first time I had seen that, or I didn't even know that they built those little houses over 'em. But sorry. Sorry, everybody. My grandson.
Nah,
Go in
you're
there.
good.
Go in there. I
That's hilarious.
I think I like watching it while it's on mute too, because it's just like
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, he should be asleep, but get ready. But yeah, seeing those little things over the graves, I thought I knew it was something, but I didn't never seen it or heard about it, and I was glad that they did that too. And them singing at the end of that, yeah, I thought that really drove the message home of that episode. But one of the things that I loved about this show was our characters was White Steve. That scene when when they were rapping during the tornado, So was he just a little white kid that lived on the res, or was he just one of the
He's
one of the
light skinned.
friends?
He's light skinned.
Light skinned, yeah.
Okay.
Light skinned native.
We all got that friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I liked that. I thought it was cool, and I mean, he took that name in stride. Like
White
he knows it because that's all they called him, White Steve, and yeah. So I knew this one little kid, and yeah, he was light skinned, and I remember asking his name. Hey brother, what's your name? He goes, Half Breed. I was like, wait, what? I was like,
Mhm.
wait, say it again. Half Breed. I went, that's your name, Half Breed. Well, that's what my uncles call me. And I'm
Oh,
like, what?
shit.
And his uncles are like darker than me. And I was like, well, that's messed up. But he still to this day they call him that. And he said he's all right with it. He doesn't care. He knows who he is and everything. But I was like, all
Gotta
right.
own it.
Yeah. But White Steve, I mean, he was cool. I mean, he was down for his crew. He did everything. But the scene when they were in the little center when they were trying to ride out the tornado, you had the Indian mafia and the res dogs, and that for that one moment they were all cool with each other because they were all laughing and hanging around. Because when they first got in, it looked like they were all like mad dogging each other. But then once they were all getting up, and then when White Steve got up and he started dropping his rhymes and everything, I thought that was all cool. That made me laugh. But then it's like as soon as they left, they became enemies again. I mean, I've been in a situation with that. I mean, going to powwows. The biggest one that we had for us that we went every year was Stanford Powwow in Palo Alto, California. And that was our powwow, all the natives from the Bay Area. And when other people tried to come in from other parts of the country and try to get rough and tough with us, like, no, you can't do that here. This is our place. But then at the end of the weekend, we were all laughing around and we're all dancing and singing and everything. So I thought that was really cool on what they did there. But yeah, as soon as they left that room, boom, they became mortal enemies again. But it was cool. I liked what they were doing there. And another thing, is Big the only tribal policeman on that force?
There was one. They brought up
Here's that way.
another guy, wasn't there? Because he's like, "Why isn't so and so here?" And he's like, "Oh, we called in sick, so you got me." So they might bring him
yeah,
in.
Oh
that's right.
yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
episode.
Oh, dude, it's cheese.
Jesus, junior detective there.
I thought it was funny that they took him out to like investigate the catfish heads.
He's just driving him around.
Yeah.
They ever say what that was? Remember at the end of the first episode in the credits where the chopped off catfish heads and the shoes, and Big's just there and looking at everything, and they never like say. He just says like in the next episode, I think he thinks it's Bigfoot activity,
Yeah,
and that's it. They don't ever. I was like, fuck, come on.
I would have liked to
Give me
see more of
something.
him just investigating weird things, weird native things.
Yeah.
I
It's a
guess.
spinoff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
his X-Files, but with him.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Yes.
spinoff.
That'd
That'd be a good
Yes.
spinoff.
Accidentally himself into everything.
Are there big people in the area over there?
Yeah.
Because I know here in California, they're all over the place.
Yeah, we have some here. Don't really know too much about them. Different like okay, so stories from Comanches. I think Comanches is believe that when they could go through trees, like certain trees into another dimension, or it's like a portal. So when you see them like in the woods and they just disappear, then they go into a tree and they disappear into that portal. And they go into that dimension wherever they go. That's what they say. For us, I don't know. Like Pawnees don't really have any stories about Bigfoot. They just kind of hang around or go about their business and just leave them alone. Like they don't mean any harm. Just don't fuck with them, I guess. But that's what I've heard of the Comanche stories from that. I don't know about Tyler. I don't know if you've heard anything through creeks.
Yeah, we got like several actually. Like I think I told y'all like Ihosa is like Bigfoot. That's our word for Bigfoot or tall man. And they're like spirits. And it's kind of like what Big said in the show. Like if they don't want to be seen, you don't, you don't get to see them. That a lot of times, like children are the only ones that really like see them. But like, I don't know if it was just like a story just to like scare kids, but like to not to go into the woods because that's how you get lost. Like they'll lead you into the woods and then you won't ever be seen again. Like they'll just wander off and like you just to take you somewhere. Like I don't know. They just said like, don't go out there because he hosts us out there. But my favorite one is Este Jepko. Is like a Bigfoot, but he's got a big dick, and like he whips it against. He whips it. Yeah, he like whips it against a tree.
Ouch.
So like you hear like the
You hear the smack.
you hear the dick whip.
When you hear that, you're dead.
That's the
Yeah.
story. That's
Last
like,
thing
it's
you
like
hear.
yeah, that's the story. Like yeah, they'll get you too.
You hear
But
that?
yeah,
Oh, then go down.
those are the two that I know. I mean, I know there's other, but like I said, but I've heard they're like spirits and like it's just something you don't mess with. And I mean, we got words for it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it ain't.
You better check the translation, man. That don't sound right, man.
That's what it is. It's like okay, so Este's man. Or
And you don't
human.
I trust you. I trust
Jumko
you.
is long, so like long man.
Oh, shit.
That's the translation. I ain't lying.
Oh.
Watch out for big dicks.
Yeah, Este Jepko is it or Este Jepko? But yeah, that's it.
That'd be my luck, dude. I'd be the one in the forest who gets hit in the face with Bigfoot's dick.
Oh,
Minding my
man.
own business, fucking sleeping, and then whoa.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's my favorite. We had all kinds of monsters in our culture,
Mm.
which
On
I'm
that-
sure all y'all do. But
In that cheese episode, remember they mentioned LPs, or I'll just say it.
yeah, don't be
Yeah.
saying that.
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm a smudge.
That's-
But yeah, they mentioned LPs, but they never really go into it. They find those little copper
Copper figures.
copper figures,
Yeah,
and it's freaking everybody out.
yeah.
They're the ones that make those.
No, West
No,
Studi was making those.
West
remember?
Studi was make yeah.
But
They're
they
trying to
thought
keep
it.
them away,
They thought,
or-
is that what he was doing? Or
That's what he said. They was putting them up, but then he was just like
He's trying to get his
Get
art
the
out there or
word
some
out.
shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
get the art out there.
that's right.
It was like freaking everybody
You're
out.
freaking everyone out.
because they're around here, where I'm at.
Ugh.
Yeah, they live in the rocks down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen them. I only heard those
All
stories
right, I think this
when
is
I
the
moved
part
here.
where I go ahead and click off.
It's
too
probably
real,
different.
isn't
I
it?
don't know if it's the same as
Well,
the same over there.
Mm-mm.
I think that's what's awesome is like that, like even just how you all are reacting. Like we don't have that, in the Phoenix area or back on my res, but just that the community would assume that first more than an artist, just trying to get their work out. They're like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
shit, it's got to be that. There's no way it's somebody just trying to push their content out.
We
Yo,
were
that's my
talking
hope.
about that earlier tonight, and I was just like, okay, man, like this is getting too real, y'all. Like
Mhm.
it's time to check out.
Yeah.
I just think Native people are just the most superstitious people.
If anything happens to me,
Anyway.
it's always ghosts before
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like
anything
who,
else.
yeah,
Yeah,
who gudgy me? Who did this? Who's out to get me? Who did I piss
Mhm.
off? It's never
Mhm.
like happenstance for sure.
We got those water babies and the monster in Pyramid Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Pyramid Lake for sure, dude. I'm like 15 minutes away, dude.
Oh man, I'm good. I've
hate
been
going
there
out
a
there.
few times, but nah. One of my friends told me that he was out on the lake in his boat, and then all of a sudden he goes, he felt like something went under him, and then his boat started to spin, like out of nowhere, it just started spinning, like something went by real quick, and the motion of the water turned his boat like 180. He said it kind of like, all right. And he's a white guy, and he used to go out with a native girl, and she was the one that told him all these stories about everything that goes on out there. So he was like, all right. I kind of just said, hey, I'm just fishing. I'm not disrespecting. And he said he started up his motor and rode back to shore. He said he was
Yep.
scared.
But see, and that's for the most part, anything that I hear, regarding like Pyramid Lake, whatever the case may be, usually comes from James. Pretty much any of these stories, like when we were going through watching all of these episodes, half the stuff is stuff I haven't even heard of, like for example, the Deer Lady or whatever. And so I always go to James. And one of the ones that he was telling me about was it the Pyramid Lake snake? Is that right, James?
Yeah.
So
Essentially
maybe you
our
could shed
serpent.
some, you should shed some light on that one, dude, because that thing is terrifying.
It's just like pretty much our Loch Ness. And like Nez was saying, there's all these stories. I have one where this guy named, coincidentally, Steve, he was going to work and he worked really early in the morning. He just so happened to be driving and he'd look over at the lake and just seen this big old fin just come up and go down. Then I heard that when I was like 12 years old, and we were camping by the lake, and I was like, "Yeah, nope, I'm sleeping in the van. You guys can sleep outside."
The one that scared the one that scared me was the first one that I heard. We were out there and I was younger, and my friend's dad was telling us, or no, his uncle was telling us stories about. He started off with the water babies, and that scared the hell out of me. But then he went to the monster, the snake, whatever's in the lake, and how he was saying that some white people came up and they were looking for it. Like they went into the lake to search the bottom. And he was telling, he goes, they're never going to find it. And we were like, well, where did it go? He said, this is what he told us. He said, there's a tunnel from Pyramid Lake all the way up to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, I heard that too.
They know when they know that it's something's coming to try to look for it, it swims in a tunnel or then goes up to the water, the Lake Tahoe. And then when it knows the coast is clear, comes back. And just the stories that they were telling me. I've seen drawings of it as well. None of them look the same. They all look different, but I'm like, nah, I'm good. And multiple people have seen it. And the elders were telling us, he goes, yeah, it's just a protector that don't need to worry about it. As long as you treat the land and treat the lake good, you're fine. He goes, because there's people that come from out of town or whatever, they come to the lake, disrespect the lake, and then they disappear. And there's been plenty of incidences where that's happened out there. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. I get scared when I just drive by it. I drove by it like a few weeks ago because the highway where I go home, 395, was shut down because of the fire, and I had to take that back road by Pyramid Lake, and that's scary going back there because I think of the hills have eyes and all that on that back dirt road all the way.
Was it at night too, or no?
Yeah, it was at night.
Oh, it's worse because it's just black.
It's terrible.
There's nothing out there.
Nothing out there. But luckily, I was scared at first before just riding the lake, and then once you get to the dirt road, I was like, am I going the right way? Because I've done it once during the day, but at night it's black. You can't see nothing out. There's no lights or anything out there. So I was like, oh man. But since the fire was going and a lot of people were leaving, there was plenty of people on that highway. So I'm like, all right. So nothing's going to happen to me because there's a ton of people on this road going the opposite direction of where I was going. So I felt a little safer. But yeah, it's an awesome lake. But the things that I've heard growing up, and I'm like, I'm good. The one that scared me the most was my buddy, same buddy that when he was on the boat in his spun, he was out. He got up one night to go to the restroom, and he was just standing outside, middle of the night. Everyone was asleep. He said he heard giggling. And I was like, what did you hear? He goes, I heard like little kids giggling. Said he got scared, jumped back in his camper because he thought of the water babies. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. so I don't go out there. I don't camp or fish or anything in that lake. I'm good.
Hey, Ian, I had a quick question, really quick. You just did your episode 4. What kind of reaction did you get from that? Because you touched on some pretty heavy topics.
I It's all been positive so far. I think.
That's, I mean, I always hope so, because like you just addressed like a lot of things just real spot on. And like I was just very impressed with how you spoke about those topics about, our black natives and, the freedmen and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. What so for those of you that hadn't learned, or I don't know if everyone here has known about like the chatter on social media with like the anti-blackness in the show. If you even search anti-blackness res dogs on Twitter, Tumblr, you'll see all the threads. And I had really just talked about it, and I prolonged episode 4 just because of that. Like
Mhm.
took me a while to digest it, because when I watched episode 4, I didn't see any of that. I just thought like the music video was whack, and that was it. Like I didn't see anything other than but for people who aren't familiar with our communities, who don't know native people, who only have seen like caricature versions of us, they come and see Punk and Lusty and they're like, that's blackface, that dude's like putting on a costume, but it's like that dude's a tattoo artist by trade. He's a hip hop artist by trade. Like this is what he does. Like none of that was makeup or costume. It's like, say what you want about what you think our people are, like that's who we are. And I think there's a really honest conversation that needs to be had about like who can or can't participate in hip hop, and that's like a whole separate intellectual conversation. But I think like that intersection, along with like this being set in Oklahoma and the 5 civilized tribes, and the relationship with the freedmen, I think it was just ripe for like an anti-black conversation to come up. And there is anti-blackness like in our communities, like in all native communities, and a lot of it is like fed from our media. And I think our black relatives, I kind of talked about the evolution of black representation in television and media, and how like they've progressed so far where like we're trying to follow lockstep with where they're going. And I feel like we're like 20-30 years behind them. And so you see a show like Res Dogs come up and you're like, great, they're going to get it right. And they miss in a few areas. There's the opportunity to say that they've missed, and then the conversation starts, and it's it is where it is. But yeah, it took me a while to think about it. But I think overall it's nothing is above criticism. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I think that once I heard somebody say that, I was like, that makes sense. It's like it's art, you have to critique it, and just because you love it doesn't mean you can like not point out the flaws. And
Right.
I think Stenjati, that whole situation, that was unfortunate because he's probably a different person now. 7 years is a long time, but Twitter holds all things. I mean, you say it once, it's out there forever. So regardless of the person who he is today, he got cut from the show. And I think it's given everything really centered around his episode too. I think it's a good look for the show. But I think I was like, we all know a bunch of deadbeat dads, but I'm like, why couldn't this guy have been in a drum group or been like on the rodeo circuit? Like it would have fit just
Right.
perfect, it would have been more native than anything else, than a native
Yeah.
rapper. But yeah, I've heard nothing but positive things so far. I
That's
haven't heard
good.
a lot of negative feedback.
What was the anti-blackness people were saying? I didn't catch any of it in that episode. Or
Yeah,
what were
well,
they saying?
Well, so like some of the big ones is so like the use of like black scent. So AAVE is like how it's commonly termed in online African American vernacular English. When you like try to talk black, or what you think a black person sounds like. So prime example is like Aquafina when she first came on the scene, and like how she doesn't talk like that now. And like another prime example is Malibu's Most Wanted. Like Jamie Kennedy's whole character, like that's black scent. It's like you're putting. Yeah, you're putting on the accent for like opportunity for opportunity, because you see it as a opportunity to either gain clout or profit or status. And I think for people that don't know native communities, like they see Moose and Miko, they see Lil Mike and Funny Bone, and they're like, oh, that's black scent. But these guys like grew up in Oklahoma City, like in the city, like they're from the city. That's everyone I've heard that knows them. They're like, that's how they talk all the time. Same thing with Stenjati. Like they heard Stenjati basically dressed like a mumble rapper, like looking like a mumble rapper, talking the way he does. I think people that aren't familiar with our communities or don't know us or don't know how we came to be where we are and our proximity to urban communities. And I think they see that and they're like, oh, that's that's anti-blackness. They're putting on a show. They're just picking pieces of what they think are cool, and they put that on. And so I think those are like the biggest ones. And I think because go ahead.
Because I grew up with some guys like that, and they still talk like that today, and they're all 50 years old now, same age as me, and they still sound that way. I grew up with them talking that way, and I grew up in pretty much the same neighborhood. Not to say that I was talking like that. Yeah, I use the slang and everything. I don't use it as much when I'm here with my family, but when I'm around my friends that I grew up with that talk that way, I see myself not using the accent or anything, which I've never have, but some words come out. And I'm not saying that I haven't used the N-word with the A, not the ER.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends, a lot of my black friends spoke like that. I mean, they did, their families, and I heard it all the time. And I never took it as younger growing up. I never took it as it being a bad word. It was just something how they were saying it. But as I got older, I went, all right, I could see why some people don't want to use that word.
Yeah, this is like a super nuanced conversation that has like so many facets to it. I mean, like prime examples like Fat Joe. He's Latino. He has no issues using that word because of the community he grew up, because of Puerto Rican proximity. Like I think he's from Brooklyn because of their proximity to like black communities. Like that's a whole other conversation. But like natives, they fall into a lot of those same situations where like we grow up. Not me. I grew up on the res, like I didn't, I grew up on the Navajo res in my town. It's like, if you talk like that, everyone's just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you like? It was a front, it was a show, and we get called out for it. It's like, what are you doing? But it's like the identity crisis of like Indian country, where it's like people point that out, but then like Willie Jack, like the permeation of like Cholo culture in Indian country, like that wasn't talked about, that wasn't criticized, but like that's so real for us. Like that's like that. Same with goth culture, metal culture, anime culture. Now more recently, it's like we don't have a culture. This is what happens when you have a entire community that has no accurate representation on television. So we glom onto anything that's close enough or that's drastically different than the norm. And so I think that it's difficult to have that conversation to people that have no idea that natives are everywhere. And so there is no, that whole popular thing of like, we're not a monolith. It's like, we're not one thing. Like my res is completely different from Tyler's and Russell's, and, where Kevin lives, his res, it's way different than the res that he's from and I'm from. And even just different parts of our res, it's so different. Our families and our relationships with our communities, even within the government itself, it creates such nuanced communities. And I think it's hard for people to even understand that. Because as native people, like we watch that and we just get it. But people who don't know us, they see that and it gives them an opportunity to make assumptions and make connections that may or may not necessarily be there.
I think that's sort of the brilliance of the show. I mean, in a way, and I say that tongue in cheek because like they don't feel the need to have to explain that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're right. Like people that know just know. And I can't speak for Russell or anything, but like the people that dress like that and talk like that, where I'm from, we saw them as opposite. They're like,
oh God,
Uh-oh.
Tyler.
tree guys.
Start over.
Start over.
Hey Tyler, you cut out.
We missed the point.
He's still frozen.
That's why we don't talk about little people, right?
Oh,
Yeah, James.
there was Ethernet cord.
Go out there and shake the dish.
Oh no.
Shoot up that Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We didn't hear anything.
You got to start over. He's frozen. Oh God.
Oh God.
They're eating the modem.
While we wait, I mean,
They stole my router.
being growing up in the city, moving to the res here, going back and forth to my parents' res in Arizona, people always looked at me as an outsider. Me and my brother, when we go there, I mean, I can see it now. When I was a kid, it kind of blew my mind. I didn't sound like them, and I don't look like them. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And then as I got older, I'm like, all right, because I mean, it's true though. I go down there to where I listen to my family, mainly my cousin Jay. He's got that Navajo accent that's thick, and it's
Mm.
sometimes it's hard to understand. And when he calls me on the phone, I gotta like, what? Say it again. It's different when I'm right face to face. I can at least read his lips and everything, but it's different because when I get down there and I start talking immediately, where are you from? You're not from here. And I'm like, oh, well, I grew up in California my whole life. And they're like, oh, okay. And well, who are your family? But their tune changes when I tell them that I know my family there and I know my clans and everything. So they're like, all right, you're not just a city boy. But it's different and it's weird. It kind of hurt me a little bit when I was growing up. Like, you're not from here, you're an outsider. I'm like, shit, look, my skin color is as dark as yours. And but they were like, you're not from here. You don't know this res life. I know the res life here a little more than I do down there, but I do know it. Not as much. I can't say that I'm yes, from my heart, that's the motherland. But I mean, I've just spent summers there. I've never lived there.
Well, and frankly, it makes sense though. You're like you grew up in Oakland. You know,
Yeah.
you grew up around the minorities. Like you naturally assimilate to whatever accent or tone, you know, or the phrases, the vernacular that's being used in the community that you grew up around. Like, it just makes sense. Like, that's why I think that people, I don't know what people think like where we live, but we live everywhere.
We'll see. And I mean, just being from where I'm actually from, a little town in California called Bishop. I don't know if anybody knows what Bishop is.
Middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, dude. It's definitely in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, like, I used to go to like a native daycare and all sorts of stuff that I actually never really understood until I got older, right? So, but like you're saying, I've always known, like, I've grown up with native friends left and right. I've been to powwows in different locations, not understanding that, like you were saying, that you might come from one location to another, but then you feel like an outsider. And I'm like, well, how do you get, like, why are you feeling like an outsider, or whatever the case may be? Because I didn't understand that, like, you know, there's different groups. And so that's kind of crazy to me. But at the same time, like what you were saying, Ian, is just about how people try to pick everything apart for something that they don't understand, and they're absolutely going to pick it apart for something like this that has gained so much steam.
Right.
They're going to find anything that they possibly can to call it out for being what it's not, or what they're saying is an issue with it, right? So, and I think that's, in a way, it's a good thing, because that's just giving Reservation Dogs the steam that it needs. You know what I'm saying? It's giving it the attention that it needs, because I mean, so I didn't really talk about like how this season really went for me, but I mean, it started out with a bang. First, you see these kids stealing a fucking chip truck. Hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it starts getting into the lore and stuff. And like I was saying, I didn't understand most of it. So I'd be like, hey, James, what's this? What's this? So not only does it have me laughing and I'm loving this show, but it also has me learning about the culture of, you know, or different lores, or whatever the case may be.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Which is, and so, like, even though people are picking it apart and they're trying to say something bad about it, it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe people will go watch it for themselves and be like, oh, well, these people are wrong. You know what I'm saying? But it'll actually give it a bigger community. And I think that's good. It's always good to have that conversation anyway. But I've been friends with like different, I don't even know what tribes everyone I'm friends with are from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've hung out with different people. I know some of my friends don't like my other friends, but whatever, you know. But it's kind of crazy, because like you're saying though, I've seen people act similar to what we were seeing from in episode 4, right? And I've heard people using that same vernacular, stuff like that. But then at the same time, I've seen it on the other hand, where it's like, they would probably be like, why the hell do you sound like that? Or why are you talking like that? You know? So it's like, but I see 100% where you're coming from, where, yeah, natives are everywhere, man. And it's like, for, you know, Pyramid Lake is right here. I grew up in Carson City, and you have, I think there's 2 separate reservations just in Carson City, you know, or like 2 different tribes right there. And so it's like, it's a good thing to understand though. And I think that this show has definitely shined a really good light on the native culture, and just to, you know, bring it out and bring
Mhm.
everybody up. And you have Bill Burr in the fucking show.
Yeah, I was so
Which is-
stoked for that.
which
Yeah.
is wild to me, you know.
Well, I think a gripe too that was valid that I saw online. It's just like and it goes. I think the question is, how accurate should representation be, like for this show? Like I don't know if it's not fair to put everything on their shoulders, but for them it's like just getting the spectrum of like what we look like today and what we sound like today, because I think the popularized, none of us would get hired, maybe Kevin, like in like the Hollywood's perception of like what natives look like, because he's got long hair, you know, like all of us look drastically different. We're all native, but we look drastically different. We all have different skin tones. We all sound different. And I think that was a gripe, is like, if you're setting this in Oklahoma, like where's the black natives? And that was like, it's a fair question, you know? And I think that it's a fair question moving forward. It's just like black people are also black and native. Like, and there are black natives as well that just happen to be, you know, black by skin color or darker in skin color. And so it's all a good question and a good criticism and a good conversation to have, because this isn't it. Like, this isn't it. Like, thankfully, there's going to be another season. And if Reservation Dogs never addresses any of this, fine, because it's good. It has so much steam. There's going to be another show that comes out that's going to have an opportunity to do something different. And yeah, it's exciting. And it, at the same time too, it's just like, I get frustrated because it's like, write what you know. You have an entire native writers room. They're all writing from their life experience. Like, none of this is like, oh, no. We can't put that person in there. It's like, no, this is my life. Like, this is how I lived my life. These are my life experiences. I'm telling my story, and, you know, it's based on reality. And so I don't know, a part of me dismisses it, but a part of me recognizes, you know, the validity in it too. So
I think
Yeah,
what
I can
this
see that.
what this show is, I mean, when people watch it, I mean, not just non-natives watch the show, they'll think, because this is one of my buddies was telling me. He was like, is that how it was, or is this how it is where you live at now? And I'm like, to a certain degree. I said, but every res is different. I mean, we're not all the same. Like Ian, Tuba City, if they film that there, it would be cool. A lot of them hanging out at the gas station on Friday nights
Yeah.
would be cool in high school games and everything.
Yeah.
But here it would be the same thing, hanging out at the casino, that down there in the parking lot where all those kids hang out and everything. But it's the thing that I don't want from this is, since it just came out of nowhere and just blew up. We had Rutherford Falls earlier, which was awesome. I still love that show. And some people say it kind of pushed that show to the side. I don't think it did. I think it cool, awesome. We got two good native shows on two big TV networks. It is amazing, and it's awesome. And I'm glad that they're doing that. We got native writers and cast all doing the shows. I think, but the thing I don't want is what happened in the 90s with Dances with Wolves. Since that hit, then they started, okay, well, Kevin Costner had this movie in native. Let's see if we can, other picture companies, let's see if we can find the next Dances with Wolves. Because for a little bit after a while, there was movies coming out. You had the Geronimos, you had the Thunderhearts, and then Renegades. Renegades was earlier, but stuff like that. You had these for a little bit. There was a lot of native films that were in the theater, and then all of a sudden they kind of just they disappeared. Because okay, well, we already used them up. I don't want people to take this. I mean, only way to say it is I don't want non-natives to take this idea and, okay, since they did it, we can do it. I don't think it will be the same unless it is an all native cast and all native writers again. But I don't know. I've seen that. It's not just a native thing. I've seen that in many different cultures. Whatever's the flavor of the month, you got the next thing. Like Star Trek and Star Wars. You had those when we were growing up, and then you had the Battlestar Galacticas, and then the Stargates, and all the other different wannabe Star Wars and Star Trek films or shows. I mean, there was stuff like that because something hit. I don't want people to, okay, well, we're going to make our own Res Dogs. We're going to make our own Rutherford Falls and all that. I don't want that to happen, because it just seems like it'll kind of just not really diminish what we have now, but I just don't want it to just sweep everything out of the way and everyone, okay, well, we're tired of natives. Let's find someone else now, a different culture to put in the spotlight. But what this show is what I love about it is the main thing is on how real it is, and for non-natives to have questions. I mean, we're native and we had questions about the deer woman and the tall man and all that. So I mean, it's good. It's a good conversation thing, because when this show, and I was hyping it up to all my friends, oh man, you guys got to watch this. You got to watch this. My buddy watched it. He goes, it was cool. He goes, but I didn't understand any of the humor. I didn't get any of the native things, and so I had to explain it to him. And he was like, oh, okay. So he enjoys the show now. He always has questions when we're sitting there talking around, but I just don't want someone to, hey, this show's hitting, let's make our own version.
Well, so I think I used to think that there's no market for native stories, simply because I used to think that only natives will show up to watch it. And I think that what makes me nervous, it's kind of in the same vein as what you said, Kevin, is that the show is going to thrive on the viewership of non-natives. Like, there's not enough native people to drive a show. I mean, even if we all showed up, which would be amazing, we're not going to. We just don't do that. But I think like this is non-native viewership that's going to show and fuel this show, fuel Rutherford Falls. And it's like, I feel like white guilt's at an all-time high, and they're going to show up for stuff like this, because, you have a show centered around like removing a statue in Rutherford Falls, and you have a show around like youth rebellion in Indian country and res dogs. And it's like, when is that going to run out? And you're absolutely right. And it's like, when is that going to actually, like, just, is the keg going to be tapped and the party's over? Or like, is there actually going to be genuine interest in hearing our stories and letting us control the narrative?
Because I want this show to go on, other than I want to see the further adventures of the res dogs. But how many seasons do you think this show could go?
Well, if these damn episodes are so damn short, making me want more, you know what I'm saying? You could probably do like 18 seasons of this damn thing with these short ass episodes.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie.
All season spinoffs.
I don't know which Hulu package you guys got. I got the one with the commercials, and I hate it. I'm ready to upgrade it. I'm ready to
spend the extra dollars, man. It's worth it.
Yeah, it is.
But because I was at my friend's house when we were watching, and he's a high roller. He doesn't have the ads, and it seemed like the episodes were 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah, they're quick, man.
I was like, man, because we zipped through the whole season when we were sitting at his house laughing around, and I was like, damn, that was hella fast. And then when I go home and watch it, and it's all like, okay, I got like a minute and a half of commercials. So I don't know. Well, I guess I got to upgrade it. I don't know how much it is. I know I think I'm paying like $8 or something like that. I think I got to go to like 10.
Pay $9 and have no ads. Come on now.
Yeah,
it's not that much more, man.
Well, I got too many streaming services. I got pretty much all of them, so it
them
adds up in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we steal them from everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we take
know somebody who's in free.
Yeah.
Get that passcode.
Oh, you pay for Disney Plus? All right, tight. Well, I'll trade you Netflix for Disney Plus.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. That's what I do with my daughter.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think I only pay 1, 2, 3,
Too
4.
many. Too many. You
I
gotta
think
get some more friends, bro.
I think
You
I only
already
pay
said
for
2,
4.
3.
I pay for 4 of my own, and all the other ones are my friends.
Mhm.
My Paramounts, my HBOs, and Amazon, and all that.
I think so. I don't think this show like you stifled any of the enthusiasm of Rutherford Falls. I think Rutherford Falls it came on a new platform. It's unfortunate, it came on Peacock, where you had to buy into another one. I feel like there were a ton of people that already had Hulu. I've seen like a lot of the non-native criticism. Like they're like Res Dogs is like native. It's like Atlanta, but for natives. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
That's
You
not
know,
a bad
people,
thing, though. Atlanta's
yeah,
fucking great.
exactly. People love Atlanta. Atlanta's fucking awesome. And so I just hope that we continue to get more stuff on platforms like Hulu, where it's like stuff that people already have. You know, Netflix, Prime, Hulu, bring it there. None of this
Hey,
Apple Plus stuff.
Isn't Spirit Rangers? Isn't it going to be on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Power Rangers, but native.
Oh,
I don't know. Yes.
that sounds awesome.
Bear Clan. It's like that.
The only reason I had Peacock, Rutherford Falls, was like an accident that I came across. I didn't hear anything about it. I just kind of watched the trailer and I said, "Oh, there's natives. Let's check this out." And it was an awesome show. The reason I got Peacock is because I'm a wrestling fan. And since they got rid of the WWE network and it went over to that, I'm like, you bastards, now you're going to make me. But I'm kind of glad they did do that. I love everything that's on Peacock. So cool. And Rutherford Falls, I paid extra for no ads on that because the ads on that were killing me. It was like every other minute there was an ad. And I said, nah, fuck that. So I high rolled on that one.
Steal that from my mother-in-law.
But what would you guys like to see for season 2? Like, what would you like to see them do, or like other native actors to show up? Graham Greene's chief of police, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good one. Are you a writer on the show? I hope so.
No, I should write for
That's
stuff.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I
He could
think
bring back.
go ahead,
Oh, go
Doug.
ahead.
No,
All
you're
you think
good.
could bring back is character from Thunderheart.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome.
Oh man.
Like, do they don't have a council there, do they? Oh, they kind of did for the Greasy Fry Bread, right? Or was that just
Mhm.
for something else?
No, that was like a planning committee for the
Oh, yeah, so-
for the diabetes
yeah.
conference.
Yeah. Like, do you guys have do you guys have tribal council up there? Of course you do. I heard you on episodes, duh. You guys do. I don't know. Tribal council stuff's always it
Mhm.
could be like they're trying to get stuff done, but it's always well, we can't do it because we don't have the money, and then they drive off in their Escalade or something.
Right, right.
Yes,
Like
for
that.
real.
Mhm.
That would be great because like Biggs always bitching about his ride being, you know, all trashed, and that would be great if like the tribal council like rolls in exactly what you said, freaking awesome Escalade. I
And
think
it's just
talking
like,
to
next
yeah.
year, Biggs, next year we got you, and then it's
yeah,
it never. They said that 10 years ago.
I think Rutherford Falls kind of covers that almost like hypocrisy and kind of that tribal council drama and even casino drama, but I feel like Res Dogs could do it different in a way that I think would appeal to me more. Because I feel, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just excited. I want more of like Dear Lady stuff, more like supernatural, more eerie.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
I was gonna say some more stuff that goes like with the lore or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
A huge one that I actually I was building a school and we had this group of native dudes coming over from, I think it was Phoenix. It was a company called Agate Steel, and all of them were natives, right? Anyway, we ended up finding a freaking we had an owl fly into a window and it killed itself, right? And all the steel guys on my job site were like, "Get that thing away from me!" Like,
Oh yikes!
I fucking
like,
love that. That episode.
Yeah,
They just
No,
blurred
that's
out
what I'm
the
saying.
owl's eyes and everything.
Yeah.
What would be cool though is if they did like a whole episode where there's like an owl or something falling around like Uncle Brownie or some shit, and he's just paranoid, tripping the whole fucking time, and then like it, you know, it brings up a reason or whatever. But I want to see more of like the lore stuff. I want to learn some more
Mhm.
stories that, you know, have gotten passed down, because I think that's probably my favorite stuff that's coming up, like the Dear Lady or, you know, whatever. So that's what I want to see.
What James is saying about a spinoff with Big, like I think that would be perfect.
Told you.
Yeah.
Investigate these
X-Files.
lores. Yeah, like oh god. Please listen to this. Anybody writing?
I would just
make
love to see
a
him
spinoff.
bumble his way through things,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then because
I
he's a
will-
hilarious actor.
I would like to see him and Cheese going on little adventures because Big's the believer and Cheese is like, yeah,
skeptic,
what?
yeah.
Yeah,
Skeptical,
so
yeah.
Mulder and Scully, that's what it is.
yeah, get him in there.
Mhm.
So I think that would be a good show. But one thing that I was talking to one of my friends, and she said the episode that bugged her was the one episode when Bear's mom, when she went out and was hoeing it up at the bar.
Trying to find daddy.
Yeah. And then when she hooked up with Sam Flynn from Tron.
Yep.
She was like, I said, because she said I didn't like that episode. And I said, well, what made you mad about it? And she was like that because he straight up to, oh, I'm attracted to native women and all that this is what I like.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then my wife was saying stuff too like that. She goes,
That shit's
I
real.
don't like, yeah, it's all real. She goes, I didn't like that episode or that part of the episode. And then my friend was really going off. She goes, yeah, I've met plenty of guys that said that, oh, I love native women. They gotta have long hair. They gotta have the turquoise and the jewelry. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what?
Yeah. I talked about that a little bit in my episodes. Like that's why we have MMIW, you know. I mean, it's not, I mean, most of those offenders are non-native. Like it's people like have this because native women are hypersexualized in media. There's this like super weird like exotification of native women that like that's what people see and they're attracted to it. And I've personally, so I would just go back east for college, and like every dude I met just randomly, like not at my college, but like out in the city or whatever, they find out I'm native. They always like made it a point to be like, oh man, I love me some native women. Just like, what the fuck? Like
I was gonna say the
you're talking
same
to me,
thing.
dude.
Yeah.
And it's like
When
somebody
you said that in your episode.
Yeah, I always make a point to bringing that up. I'm like,
Mm.
okay, it's just me. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, but for some reason, like that's a real thing. It's a real thing.
The other thing that she was getting mad at was but it's true because I know a lot of women like this because when she was getting all dolled up and ready to go out and joking around with her son, yeah, I'm gonna go find you a rich daddy and all that. I've heard that from my aunts and a lot of my other friends and everything when they go out on Friday night. She goes that bugged me. Like, what do you mean? She goes I didn't want people to think that's how all native women think, all single native mothers think. And I was like, I said I see your point on what you're saying. I said, but I said I know some native sisters like this. And I said I said that's what's real about this show. She goes, I know that too. She goes, I know some as well. She goes, but it as a native woman, it bothered her on how she was portraying herself. I said, well, look at it as well at this way too. I mean, she was a mom that did everything. She took care of her son. She was working and everything, but every now and then she likes to get a little loose. I mean, I'm sure we all do as well, but I could see her point on why she didn't like the way Bear's mom was portraying herself.
It's reality though. I think
Yeah.
I once was in a clubhouse room with Gary Farmer, and he asked me to, actually he didn't ask me, someone else asked me. We co-hosted or co-moderated a room for him, and you just ask him stories. You know, you bring people up to ask him questions, and through that conversation, he had been told, like basically on an elderly person's deathbed, that he had met. Like she said, like, don't play any more drunk Indians because it's not a good look for our people, basically, you know. And so he like tried his best to not portray, you know, drunk natives because like for some people it's like all of us here know that's a big part of being Indian. That's a huge part of being native, and there's a lot of shame in that in our communities, and to not portray that is almost like lying to people. But for some people, they're just like that. Don't show them that, you know. And it's like you gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I'm glad the show doesn't like do that, like show the drunk natives. Like these kids are what, 15, 16, you know, all of us 15, 16, we all partied around and stuff like that, but they never did that, which I loved.
Yeah, the only that came close was when they were in that bar in episode 7, but
Yeah.
you didn't get that sense that they were like partying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just because I wanted to throw it out, it was one of my favorite things from that Uncle Brownie episode is how his story kept fucking changing for how many people he knocked
Oh yeah,
out.
10 to 20 to 30.
Because it's like, yeah, because I feel like that's like a story that, you know, you'd be like, oh yeah, my uncle told me this story, and most of the time you're probably like, oh, he's probably bullshitting, but then all of a sudden it's actually true, and it's actually more people than what you had originally thought. Oh dude, I think they did that so well.
I wish that they could make like Uncle Brownie's room into like a museum exhibit so I could go walk through. That room looked like so much fun. Like
All the videotapes and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
My I shared a bedroom with my uncle, my growing up in my house, and his room was exactly like that. Like I slept under a freaking like a movie poster from Heavy Metal, like the main one with the girl just and so
nice.
like I stared at that like my entire growing up, and yeah, we grew up so like the love 80s 90s movies just because of him, and so like seeing just that entire room, just like God, that's amazing. Even the Street Fighter Rock'em Sock'em robots that he had, like there were so many gems in that.
I liked when he said, what did he say? I live off the land. And then
Oh,
he had a
and
bunch of
Sonic.
Sonic cups.
Sonic. Yeah, and Sonics. Yeah. Willie Jack just giving
I
him
love-
shit the whole time about Sonics.
I love their what am I trying to say? How they just say different words like organic. And
Yeah.
stuff like that, and they're like, that's Stanley Kubrick. You see that? And then I just fucking love that.
Because
Oh, fuck.
other than the Thing poster I noticed, which was badass, and the Heather Thomas poster he had. I love Heather Thomas. Grew up her watching her as Jodie on Fall Guy. But this was the poster. I don't know if you guys could see it. Let me see if I can get close to it.
Oh, God.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
That's the one.
Hello.
That's the one we had. Or my brother had. We shared a room. That's the one we had on our wall of Heather Thomas. And when I saw the one that the Uncle Brownie had, it just made me laugh. And I was like, all right. I mean, growing up as a little kid in the 70s and all that, and the poster that I saw everywhere was the Farrah Fawcett one. Everyone loved Farrah Fawcett back in those days, but it was cool. I mean, I just love in the stack of VHS tapes that he had. I mean, I remember going to my uncle's house, and he was single, one room, little place he stayed, and he had monster posters on the wall, Creature from the Black Lagoon and stuff like that, and a stack of VHS tapes and the Playboy mags and Hustler mags stacked under all kinds of other things. I mean, that's what was awesome about Uncle Brownie. I just thought he was cool. He was one of the OGs, and his old weed and everything. It was awesome. And just the stuff that he did, man, and the whole the spitting thing. Is that something that they only do over there? That was kind of new to me.
Yeah, it was new to me too.
Yeah, Rust, you guys spit at each other.
I don't. I don't know. I've never
That's
seen
a
that
new one on
before.
me. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a new one on me.
What about back
It might have-
straps? Like they
Oh,
keep
yeah,
talking about
for
back
beer.
straps. Like, is that a
Yeah,
real
it's
thing?
real.
That's
Is it?
real.
Yeah. It's the best part of the deer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I never knew.
yeah. Like it's
Yeah,
if
that-
you ask somebody, because you can't sell deer here, so everybody always asks people like if they're giving away deer,
Mm.
we get that back strap, and they're like, no, like I'm keeping that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
funny.
it's good. I wondered that the whole time I was watching the show. I was like, what the fuck is a back strap? But I don't hunt. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm civilized.
Yeah. Because like deer and elk are so lean, typically that's like one of the fattiest parts, but for them it's like one of the most lean, and yeah, it's the most tender part out of all, because they have no fat when you cook it, so it's real easy to dry it out and make it real like tough, and like back straps is like real tender, and it comes out to be about like this, probably about that long. You cut 2 slabs of it out, and you can make a bunch of steaks, just slice them out. So it's pretty exotic.
Making me hungry for sure.
It looks. I'm looking up pictures because I wanted to know what it
Back
looked like.
straps.
For some reason, I was when I heard about it on the show, I was picturing like thin pieces of jerky
That's what I thought.
because I was like, how much meat is on the back of a deer? And then looking at these pictures, yeah, it looks
Oh yeah.
huge, like big thick cuts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to try that and those
Yep.
meat pies.
Oh, meat pies. What?
Yeah, that was a thing that I never had a meat pie till I was like in my 20s. You know, we don't have those on our res.
Mm-mm.
I'm sure everyone makes them different, but what's in it?
So I think the Osages they make theirs with meat. There's always meat inside, but they go to the grave with the bread how they bread it. Nobody says how they do it or anything, and they put kidney fat in there. It's called suet. You buy it from certain stores, and they mix that inside with the meat, and it makes it really like not, like good greasy, like a good greasy like filling or anything, something like that. And it's just so like fresh. You gotta have it fresh, so you can't have it and then bring it home and put in the fucking microwave. It's just, you might as well just throw it away because the bread gets hard as fuck. But they do that, and then like some people, they do like ground beef, like they ground it up and they stuff it in like I guess like like a fry bread. Like they make this fry bread pocket and they mush it all together and they deep fry that. So it's like a fry bread with meat inside. Some people do that. And then others will just make like a patty or something, and they'll just slap it on some dough and they'll just wrap the whole thing and they just put them in the oven. And then like I don't really like that one because I don't know, the bread on the bottom is too hard sometimes, and I don't really like that type of meat pie. I prefer the fry bread meat pie or the Osage way. I don't know about Tyler. If you make them the way I don't like, then I like them.
Yeah, the only ones I've ever had are like what you said with the soot inside. But the only other difference is like there are some that are spicy.
Oh yeah,
And you just fill them with whatever.
Some people put green chili in them. Ooh.
Yes, yeah. There's just different
Yeah.
ones.
Oh
No,
You just got to know. It's like what we were talking
Oh.
about earlier. Like you just got to know the right cooler to go to.
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah.
laughing too because like it's so right on, man. Because it's like what you're. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess. But like you just don't mess with that. Like that's just people. I don't know. Like what am I trying to say? Like people have like their corner. I don't know like how to describe it.
They got their block, and you don't go on.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, it's just kind of like that, I guess. Like, you just don't want to get hooked up with the wrong meat pie person. You want to piss off the other meat pie person, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You gotta I
stick
don't
to
know.
your meat pie plug.
Pretty
I'm
much.
just trying to stay neutral because I don't want to get cut off.
When I was working growing up, I worked at the Native American Health Center with the Youth Empowerment Program. There was a little Mexican lady that came around with her little cart of tamales, and it was always just her. And someone told her, and I know some other lady tried to come in and sell to us. And I didn't care. I just wanted tamales. But then they were like, no, you can't buy from her. You only got to buy from the other one. She goes, this lady's trying to come in and steal her business. And I remember seeing them outside one time get into it.
Oh,
I don't know what they were saying because they were screaming at each other in Spanish, basically, get off my block. Because
Hey, cabrona! Hey, get
lady-
your fucking ass out of here, fool.
the lady that was new, she packed up her cart and left.
Oh,
And
Respect.
I was like,
She
okay.
knew.
So,
Respect.
yeah, I mean, I loved her tamales. Like, I could never understand her. She always spoke Spanish to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yes,
So,
tamales. Here's $20. Give me them.
yeah. Give me 5. So,
5 for 20. Damn, that's a rip.
no, I
Yo,
mean, I always
yeah.
got 5. I would just bought
Oh.
5.
It's about 5 for 20.
No, hell no.
I was gonna say I'm
Like
about to
20
start
for
making
20.
me some tamales and go sell them, dude. Damn.
We had a one of my friends. She was one of the cleaners at the airport, and she always made them. She goes, "Well, tamales, yeah, sure." And she'd just make a shit ton and bring them to work, and everyone would swarm her and buy them all up. I told her, "Look, I'm not here when you get here. Save me some." So I always had my my bag of tamales when I got there waiting for me. But yeah, I want to try these meat pies. I want to try this backstrap and catfish's life. I want that too. I've had catfish maybe once or twice, and I don't. It looked like it was just deep fried there. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Is
think
it-
I've had it any other way but deep fried. It's the only way you can eat it. Kill the lake taste.
Yeah.
Lil Mike and Funny Bone. What's their names on the show?
Miko
Nico
and
and Moose.
Moose.
and-
Yeah.
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 Other than that, was a surprise to see them come rolling up on their bikes. I want an episode of them. Let's hear their story. They're not just the two little local MCs that mob around on their bikes talking shit when they come in. Because
Yeah.
every scene they had was awesome. They always had something funny to say, and they had each other's back. I mean, that one they had Cheese's back when Cheese was his eyes were all dilated when he was sitting there eating the hot chips, and Big came up. Where'd you get those? And then one of them was like, "Oh, isn't that bag I bought you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, that's when you got each other's back." I thought that was awesome. But I would like an episode of them to see what their story is. I mean, I don't. It's cool that they popped in every now and then. They weren't in every episode, but I want to hear a little of their story because they have kind of spotlighted everyone. Like what's her name? The one that made the beaded stuff. The
No, Kim Guerrero's character.
Yeah, everyone. I loved how everyone was scared of
Anti-B.
her.
You know, yeah. So learning why people are scared of her, she probably like killed her husband or something. Like she has like answers the door with a box cutter. Yeah, but I think what I want is an episode on Bobby Lee's character, the IHS doctor. I want to learn like his story, like why he's still there. You know,
Mhm.
how he ended up there. Just 2 years,
Yeah.
man. Just pay off my loans, and then 10 years later, he's still there.
Just happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
And then it just got bogged down by the system, by the IHS.
For sure.
And I want more of what's her name, Jenna. I want her. Just an
Oh, the
episode
IHS
of-
worker.
I want more of her just sitting there talking shit to everyone the whole episode. I was hoping they would bring her back in. I mean, it was good enough, and it was a surprise to see her pop up into it. But I want an episode of her, and it just all the little side characters that popped in. I mean, just give us more of those.
Yeah, Kirk Fox, the salvage yard. We're like, what the hell's that guy's story? You know?
Oh
Him and
yeah.
the meth heads.
Yeah.
That
It's
guy
like
was
he
awesome.
went from Hokahei to Walking Beauty. I'm just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you're jumping all over the place. He's got a
He said,
choker
"Yeah,
on. Like,
He
yeah,
was speaking Navajo too.
yeah. Just like, what's
And-
this dude's story?
And it's funny too. What I loved about that character, I don't know if you guys have, but I'm sure everyone has met someone like that.
Oh, for sure.
A non-native that like tries to know more than you. And
Yeah.
for me, when I've come across that, I never disrespect them. Like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. I want to hear what they say.
Yeah.
Because
Hey, what's up?
was funny.
Yeah. When I tell people like, oh, Ian, yeah, I'm Navajo. Oh, so you're Dene? No, I said Navajo. Don't be coming at me
Exactly.
with that kind of energy.
Oh yeah. I would like to see a whole episode. It like plays out like a Reservation Dogs, but the title card is Indian Mafia, and it's just all of them doing what they do.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That would be tight. Yep.
Get in that writer's room, man. I swear, you got 2 episodes written already. Graham
Oh,
Greene,
there it
police
is.
chief, and Indian
Sterling.
Mafia.
I know you're listening. James McLeod. JamesMcLeod@gmail.com. Put my check in the mail,
More.
please.
More of Jackie, because she
Yeah.
had a story. She came from the city and she was in another gang and came back, and her cousins are joining her up and all that. And I don't even know any of the other guys' names, but White Steve and Jackie. Who
Yeah, I
who
was-
are the other dudes?
I was surprised they didn't give her shit for being from the city. like how most natives
Yeah.
are. Like, you don't know where you're from. And then what I think season 2, episode 1 is going to be Alora coming back. Because when she picked up Jackie, she was like, "Oh, you don't get to see your friends anymore, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And you could see like the doubt start to build, and then they're slowly driving away. And I'm thinking like, I would like to see her like, "Oh, the car's broke down, we can't make it," or something. Make up some excuse where now she can't leave. Like she don't want to leave now because she's leaving her friends and her family and stuff like that.
Because I could see why she wanted to leave, because other than her friends, she seemed like she didn't have anybody.
Hmm.
So that was I mean, that's all too true, and that was sad as well. But I'm just like, I know they tried to give everyone their time to shine, but there's so much more to go into each of these characters, especially Laura Dannon. I mean, we see that she's a strong woman, but that you could see that she's got some problems that she wants just to not even try to fix, just get away from her. That was her idea. Look, I'm gonna fuck all this shit. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go to California and live the California dream. But I don't think that car's gonna make it.
Yeah, I think like no matter how far she tries to run, she won't. She can't you can't outrun your past
Mm.
and
No.
stuff. And I think like the ghost of Daniel might be in the back seat, maybe. Like,
Talking to
yeah,
her. And
yeah,
shit,
you can't run away. Like, I'll always be with you.
I can see him talking to her like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Why are you doing this? Why are you hanging out with her? First of all, I mean, that was kind of a shocker. But and then because when earlier in the earlier episodes, when Jackie was talking to her, like, look, you can come join us because I know you don't want to be with them. I mean, what did Jackie see that we didn't see to where she thinks she can talk Alora Dannon to be with her? Well, she obviously did because they drove off together at the end of the season. But I mean, I want to dive in more into that story, and I think next season we'll probably get maybe 1 or 2 episodes of them driving before she realized, or who knows, they might make it all the way to California and then figure out, now this ain't for me, I'm out of here, I can't afford to live here. I could barely get through, and I still live in California. But where they're trying to go, I know they're not going to be able to afford it, really. I mean, even if you live in the worst parts of LA or wherever they're going, I mean, I'm sure it's still a lot of money. So, but I don't know. We'll see. But I kind of do see them not even. Maybe they get out of the state and then that's it. But that old beat up car, nah.
Yeah,
It ain't making all the way halfway across the United States.
Car's gonna break down. They're gonna have to pay for it, and then won't have any money to go all the way. So they're just gonna turn back around.
That was a real res car. This is the car that she took her driver's test in. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when Bill Burr got in there and he was talking hella shit, that was a straight res car. That was awesome because that's all real. Because some of my friends go, "Is that how cars?" I said, "Well, you need to hang out on the res and see," because I've known plenty.
As long as it gets
like
from
that.
A to B, we're good.
Yeah, can get you to town. You're all right.
Oh my god, I love Bill Burr's nickname, Toilet.
Yeah.
Chokaji, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Yokichi?
I think it's a Chokaji.
Chokachi?
Yeah. I thought it was Chokaji.
You
So
know,
what
the people I
is
told
that-
that story to?
Is that Creek? Is that
Yeah,
Muskogee?
that is.
Okay.
Is that what that means?
Yeah. Well, I've always heard it as bathroom, but the same thing.
Because Choka, that means grandfather in my father-in-law's side. Damn it. He's from God damn it, I forgot. Sorry, Dad, but I forgot he's from out that way. And Choka means grandfather, but I assume words are different everywhere. But
Yeah.
Even that story, his story of him knowing Alora Dana's mom, and that I think that story got me too, on what happened with what he was telling her, and how he felt. I mean, that was his friend, and he had love for her. So I thought that was really cool. But I mean, a lot of the story is in this, man. It's real life. I mean, not just for natives, it's just real life for everybody in general. When you know someone like that, especially if your parents have passed and you meet their friends and they start telling you, like the Beanie stuff, Uncle Beanie, when he was telling her, and she goes, well, maybe you can tell me some stuff about my mom. And then he was like, nah, I can't, because not that I don't want to. He goes, I'll start crying. And if they do an episode where he does and he starts crying, shit, I'll be right next to him, just because that would be tough to hear, because we're all related in some way. And I mean, that's what I really loved about how she was calling him uncle from before, and when Bear and Willie Jack met him, like, who's this weirdo? By the end of that episode, or even earlier in that, they were calling him uncle.
Yeah.
So I thought that was awesome.
Hitler? No, just kidding.
Don't get shy
No.
here.
Let's see. How long have we been going?
I have
Damn,
no
it's
idea.
1:20.
Yeah,
that it?
Whoa.
not for us.
It's 4 a.m. Just kidding.
I'm supposed to be up in Bartlesville in the morning.
Oh shit. Oh god.
Yeah,
What time?
8.
Man, you can make it.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
I'm not gonna make it.
Well, shit. I mean, since you have the right potatoes up in here, we always do our scores. Like, what would you give it out of 100? Right. So just going over the whole season, what would your overall score be for this? Whether it, obviously you have your gripes with it, whatever. But out of 100, what percentage would you give this?
Probably say 90.
Yeah, I was gonna say 90.
I wish they were longer.
Yeah.
It's just those little things like the end credits of that first scene where they don't explain the fish heads, the hair, where Willie Jack gives the hair to that guy. I forgot about that. I wish maybe we'll get it next season. I don't know. And I can't remember anything else. It's just like continuing those stories. Like, the fuck is it? Like, it's just that's what bugs me. But I love the series. Like, it's just something that is fucking new as hell. Like, growing up, man, I never had anything like this.
Mm-mm.
People are lucky now.
What else
Yeah,
you got?
I would give it 100, but
That's okay. But what? What's keeping you from giving it the hundo?
other than the ads that I have to deal with when I watch each episode.
That's on you though.
Yeah, that's a personal problem.
Yeah, I can give it 100. I mean, there's nitpicks and everything, but I just thought that this, other than it being a surprise, just an amazing show that came out of nowhere. It was only like maybe a few weeks when I started hearing about it, when everyone's posting pictures of reservation dog, reservation. I was like, what the hell is this? I didn't know what it was. As soon as it came on, I clicked on it, and then just that first episode blew me away, and couldn't wait until next week, until the next one came. And we only got 8 episodes, and it sucked. But I think, to me, watching this show, every episode spoke to me on what these kids were doing, and what the grown-ups in it were doing as well. And it was all just truth. Again, this isn't a show just for natives. Yeah, we get all the humor, which is awesome, but I think this show can work with almost any community. So I mean, that's what I loved about it. Other than it, just like I said, it spoke to me, and in many ways, to where, like I said earlier, I was laughing, I was mad, no, I was sad and crying. I mean, not many shows that I watch today are just the shows that I grew up watching. had made me feel the way I felt watching this show. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it 100. I just loved all of it, and yeah, you got little gripes in here and there on some situations on it, but like I said, I love the way each episode made me feel when it was over. I didn't feel like, oh man, this was a waste of time watching this show. It was like I said, I couldn't wait for the next episode. Now it's over with. What are we gonna do every Sunday? I mean, we can watch reruns, which is awesome, but like, when is this new season coming? Did they start filming it yet? I mean, because I know, yeah, we got the word we're getting it, but I want to know when they're gonna start, because once I know they're filming it, I know it's gonna be soon after that when we get it. And I mean, you got to give shout out to Sterling and Taika. I mean, for them, I mean, the way Sterling was talking about it, he goes, if it wasn't for Taika, this show wouldn't have gotten made, because when they became friends, and he told him, he was like, look, man, I got to deal with FX. If you got anything, let's work on it. And he was like, yeah, I got this. So boom, they hit it, and it just blew us all away. I mean, here we are talking about it, and we're going to talk about it again when the second season comes out, because I talked about it like pretty much every week on our shows, and talking to other people, other native communities, laughing about it, and talking to other non-natives on how awesome this show is. So it was just one of those water cooler things. After each episode, other than you getting online and said, oh man, that show was hella funny, and then messaging and texting and calling and all that. So I loved what this did. Looking at my feed on Facebook and Instagram within my native community, everybody was always talking about it after each episode. And then when the memes came out of just this and that, and it was awesome. So yeah, I loved what this show did. Again, not to take anything away from Rutherford Falls, we do get those memes as well, but I didn't see that many people talking about that show after each episode. Because I don't know if everyone has Peacock. Everyone has Hulu because it's been around the longest. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with 100 on this one.
I'll
forgot-
go. Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I
That's
just said
okay.
we forgot about a whole episode about William Knifeman.
Yeah, for sure.
Arguably the best character ever created.
Yep.
forever.
I
He's
agree.
TikTok famous now, dude.
Yeah. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's my favorite character in the entire show for sure. William Knifeman. I'd say like 95, 94, somewhere around there for me. I think there's a few there's like filler episodes. Like you remove episode 2, probably episode 3, like the story is the same. You know, there's like episodes that just kind of like play around. And for me, that's cool. But I'm native. I get all the jokes, and you know, I get most of it. And so it's like it this feels like it's for me. And this is the first time that I've ever felt like that. And even when I watched Smoke Signals back in the day, and I've seen that movie countless times now over and over, it just feels like it's like, who are you making this for? Because there's like this pieces of it that are like, I feel like are trying to have universal appeal, and there's pieces of it that are like, I don't really know what's happening. And as you mature, you kind of like, it grows on you more. But this one, first time through, I'm like, this is fucking awesome, like every step of the way. And it's only going to get better, you know, the more I watch it and the more it matures. And I'm real excited for season 2. So let's go 95 for this one.
Damn. All right, Tyler, go for it, dude. Go
Oh
for it,
yeah,
Tyler.
I'm with Russ 100%.
Okay.
I'm saying 90 for almost the same reasons. Like I wish the episodes were longer, and I think there are a few loose ends that, I mean, I get like trying to stretch it out a little bit, you know, it's save some meat on the bone for season 2, you know, but like I don't, it started out like real strong and with season 1, or with episode 1, where you think, okay, they're going to start raising money. So I kind of thought that's what the series was kind of going to be about at first, you know, because then even episode 2, they're selling meat pies out in front of the hospital, but then they kind of got away from all of that, you know. Didn't really, you hear them talking about California, but you didn't really see them doing anything to get there, you know. So just little things like that, like, and I get it, you know. Just like I said, some loose ends that didn't get tied in a neat little package for me. But other than that, no, it was a solid 90.
Feel that.
You make a good point. It's like, what are they gonna do when they get there? Like, we have no idea.
Yeah.
What's their plan? Where are
That's
they
what I
gonna
think,
live?
it's just they're gonna get there and be like, I left home for this.
Like, damn, here's California. Tight.
Yeah.
Basically.
Spend all that money in a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spend all that money getting there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, shit, gas ain't cheap. They got to drive halfway across the United States.
That's
I think
true, yeah.
we're really quick. One of the surprise characters that popped up in this, I have not seen her. I've only seen her in one movie, and I thought she was just beautiful. Was Willie Jack's mom. It says she was in 2 episodes, but I just remember seeing her when during the hunting episode. Jennifer.
They were.
She was in the last one.
Yeah, the last one too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. She was when they were okay. Her. If you guys have seen that movie, Dance Me Outside. She was one of the teenagers in that, and I completely forgot about her until she popped up on the screen. So I thought that was awesome to see her get in this. What's his name too? Matty Cardappo or whatever. He was one of the dudes, the big tall dude that in the first episode they said he was
The
native.
nunchucks.
Yeah. He's been in a bunch of things. He was awesome. He was the video guy in Stranger Things. So it was cool to see him pop up. I would like to see an episode on all them, on what they do in their little junkyard. Because Kenny Boy, Kirk Fox, he was awesome. Every time he had something to say. I want to know how he learned all his native knowledge. So.
Kumite.
Yeah. I was like, awesome Bloodsport
Bloodsport
reference.
the 50th time.
What would you guys give it, James and Steven?
I always give the number that first pops into my head, and it's 94. 94 for me. I loved it. No matter like my issues for the episode 5 with Cheese's episode, but 94 all the way.
Okay, I'm up there at like a 90. I was at a 90 for sure. Just because I'm at the same spot with you guys. I wish the episodes were a lot longer. I mentioned that, just because I hate waiting for the next episode to come out as it is. But it definitely hit me as a great new show. Everything, it was funny. I was laughing every single episode, even at shit that James didn't think was funny. I was laughing. So yeah, man, I would say a solid 90. I think 90 is a great score for it.
Nice.
Yeah. And now, fun facts with James.
All right, that's me. Kidding, I don't have shit. I didn't have time to prepare. Playing video games all day.
Critics positive reviews.
Dude. Hey, for real though, when
man.
William Knifeman started popping up on my TikTok feed, dude, I was losing it. I couldn't stop saying freaking William Knifeman. Woo! Every fucking time, man, dude. It kills me.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
shit.
I'm incorporating like the kids come in, I teach school, so the kids will come in and I'll be like, "Good morning, young warriors." they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I want to know why he chose Bear and how come he wasn't talking to everyone else.
Yeah. Well, now he's talking to Brownie. So
Because he's the leader, dude. Come on.
It's tough being the leader.
My favorite line in the whole show was in the first episode. It was from Willie Jack. When Bear was showing his video of the video he made, them just being kids. She says it really fast. She kind of leans into the video and because they were talking about, we're going to California, this and that. And she was like, fuck bitches and get money.
oh yeah.
Oh man, that just made me laugh. I mean, she just stole my heart. I know plenty of girls like her, and to me, that was the realest character in the whole show, and it's amazing. I would love to meet her, and because I'm sure how she acts in the show, I'm sure that's how she acts in real life. So it didn't look like it took much for her to act that way. So I just loved her character. I mean, not to say that everyone else was no good, but she stole it from me. And I said this when we did our first episode. I thought it was a guy at first. And I was like, whoa, okay, it's a girl. But yeah, just awesome. I love her.
I have a fun fact. Now that you bring that up, so the Willie Jack was supposed to be a guy, and when they were doing the casting and they were doing auditions, they met Paulina Alexis, and they were like, "Oh no, that's Willie Jack." When they saw her audition,
Oh,
so
shit.
they changed the role just for
nice.
her.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Well, I
Talking about-
think they made a solid move.
For sure.
Yes.
Tyler. No, just kidding.
I'll-
Just keep going back to
One of my favorite lines was in episode 2 where what is it? They was like, I'm over there selling meat pies, and then she's like, well, go over there and fucking sell them then. And I was just like, I've heard that so many times. We'll go over there and fucking marry him then. And shit like that. I just lost it when I first heard that.
Shit ass. I like
Yeah.
how you're calling
Dead
him that.
ass.
That is a thing, because like so we've always just called like our kids and stuff like turd ass. Like you turd ass. So like shit ass was just like a step above that. So like that's something that's always been in my vernacular, but I've always said turd ass. Even my wife says she's been saying it now too, because like I said, just gets picking it up for me, because that's just growing up. That's what we always heard. Like, come on, you little turd ass.
Yeah, I
Like-
never heard that until I went away to school, because my friend Sadie used to call me that, or not call me that, but say that all the time. When you mess around with her or do something, oh, you shit ass. Like, I've never heard that before.
My
Yeah.
neighbor's mom said that to him, to my neighbor. He was telling us at school one time, we're in high school, and I don't know, he's just cracking up. He was like, yeah, I did something, and my mom like was really mad at me, and she said, you damn shit ass, you're always fucking up. She was just like cracking up telling this story. So like throughout that whole time, he'd always call people shit ass, or he would like, and he was rugged, man. Like he would mock his mom, and whenever he'd come over, he'd mock her, like what she said, and he'd go, you damn shit ass. He'd go, damn, shut up. Damn. That's why you're a shit ass.
Oh, that's good.
that's
Oh my
funny.
god. Yeah, I've never heard that outside of that story. So it was like, it just made me crack up, made me think of that time. I was like, dang, shit ass.
Yeah. I've never heard it outside of just us talking, you know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
around the house and just growing up. Like and my family, you know, like I never heard anybody else say that. But like I said, we always said turd ass. We never said shit ass. Same thing, I guess.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll cut it, guys. We're almost at
Yeah.
the 2-hour mark.
Damn.
So
Bedtime.
yeah. So thanks for coming on and just talking about a great show, and hopefully we can do it again. I don't know how they're going to do it the next season, if they're going to run 2 episodes again or whatever, but we'll keep in contact.
I will not be eating Chipotle that night.
Yeah, please don't come to the premiere. Everybody fly in for the premiere if you can. Yeah,
Are they gonna do that again? Do you know?
I think they might as well. I mean, they
I'll
had a
bet
big
they did.
turnout. They had a huge turnout the first time they did it. So
All right. Well, I
I'll-
mean,
I'll find out, and and I'll
If
tell
they
you
do,
guys.
yeah, get us all tickets. And like I said, I got you on the plane ticket. So
Hell yeah.
we'll be there.
Ah,
We'll have to represent.
Everybody can stay here at my place, so or Tyler's.
Dang, dude.
Mm.
In the Okie podcast studio, bro?
Damn,
God.
Have to get more mics.
I know I got to buy a bigger recorder. So,
Old Faithful.
but yeah. So, I guess if you guys want to shout out your stuff, then we'll cut it.
Yeah. Skoden Cinema. I'm at on Instagram, Skoden _ cinema. You can also hit me up on Gmail at skodencinema@gmail.com. I got the Facebook group, Skoden Cinema, and I got the public and I got that private group that I can't delete.
Hey.
Join them both. If you love the content, get it twice.
I guess follow us at ripe potatoes, _ripe_potatoes, and my personal at xchief_beefx.
And my personal is Comic X Steve. Thanks.
Later.
Nice.
I was waiting for the later.
Nice. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook on at Native Film Talk, and hit me up at nativefilmtalk.gmail, and I have a website, nativefilmtalk.com. Just check it out. Platform, podcast is on anywhere you can get your podcast. Give it a listen. We hit 1 year yesterday, so check it out.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Congrats, man.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm last. Yeah, you can follow E Society on all the podcast platforms, or search MacNez Podcasts. Or our main feed is on Podbean. Just search either MacNez Podcast, and everything will pop up on there. Mainly E Society, because that's what we're doing right now. We're doing our 31 Days of Horror. We just did 2 episodes. I don't know how many you'll hear by the time you hear this, but you can also follow us on Instagram, E Society Podcast, on Twitter. I think it's ESP Pod. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Just search E Society. You'll find us on there. We're on pretty much all of the podcast platforms, and our second feed is over on Anchor. Just search E Society and listen to everything on there. So, and YouTube, search E Society Podcast. A couple videos on there, not much, but we're working on it. So, but yeah, thank you so much for doing this again. You guys all rock, man. I mean, I love all your shows. Ripe Potatoes, awesome. Still need to listen to your newest one, the Peninsula. Badass film. I love it. Wasn't as good as the first one, but it was awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Native
So
Film Talk.
Man.
That episode, the Reservation Dogs, episode 4. Yeah, Ian. Yeah, man. I was feeling you on everything you said there. And you guys all rock, man. Tyler, Russ. I mean, again, we'll all be there at some point in the Okie podcast studios, and just doing this again and having fun. Who knows? That show might be like 10 hours long.
I'm not drinking. It's NyQuil.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm about to do the
Scissor.
same thing, bro.
Oh.
That drink.
The same thing.
Scissor.
purple drink.
Somebody probably gave me COVID.
Uh-oh.
Hey, it's not my fault you
Oh.
kissed me back. You kissed me back.
Oh god.
And I've been quarantined in this room for sure for like 5 days, bro. I'm ready to be done and go out to
Oh,
fucking
man.
Going on like day
Okie-
3 over
the
here.
Okie room, and we're gonna do a podcast in person. You hear me? All right.
And he'll give you COVID.
Well, it'll hopefully be gone by then.
Oh, shots.
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 The dome.
I got enough NyQuil for everyone if you guys want it.
Hey.
Bring it down.
Look,
That shit's
Oh,
expensive,
God.
we
bro.
doing this, dog? Fuck.
Oh,
Oh.
damn. Dayquil
Day and
and
night.
NyQuil.
I got
Oh man.
Oh man.
Hey, guys,
You need to
oh,
get that
should-
helmet with like
Oh,
the foam dome
hand sanitizer?
helmet with like
Yeah,
the,
yeah, hand sanitizer, bro.
Andy?
Fine.
Looks like
Day
dish soap,
soap.
but it's hand sanitizer.
shit.
You guys
Oh,
gotta get on the
yeah.
level, dog. We got it.
Yeah.
dang.
I am
Oh,
not
yeah.
taking no chances.
He really all right. Let me turn. I'm gonna have to turn off this background just to show you now.
Just in case.
Oh, there
No.
it is.
Oh, gold ball.
Yeah, we got it. I got it. I got the icy hot. I don't know what else I got around here. Nothing.
All right, bro. Just hold on. You
For
hold
my
on,
shit
I'll-
ass. I got my
Oh.
baby powder.
From them
Oh,
warm
Spawn.
days.
You got Donnie Darko.
Hey, Spawn.
Oh, yeah. I just
Oh,
got-
you talking? Oh, the figures. All right, what's up, dude? Here we go.
Oh man.
What's up,
Is
man?
that sick?
We got some NyQuil. We got the DayQuil Mucinex, baby. We got some
Jeez.
hand sanitizer. What we got here? I don't even know how to pronounce that shit, but I got it.
What?
You're making
Hot
meth
drops,
over
bro?
there.
I got this.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's all the protection you need, Kev.
Some emergency, baby. We got some Clorox wipes. We got some sprays. Shit, dude. I think COVID's gonna be afraid of me now, bro. Look at all that. And I got this shit too. We're done.
Are you still recording? Or
Yeah. So recording.
I thought we cut.
No. All
Have
right.
a
Good night,
quick-
everybody.